through Friday, noon till whenever. Doesn't really matter when it ends. Typically, I give you a good hour, hour and a half, sometimes two, sometimes more than that. What we do here is we cover all the day's current events. Headlines, hot topics, current events, whatever. Hold on a second. I just realized my light is not right. Hold on. Fix the light. There we go. Need a little bit of... There we go. Apologize for the slight delay getting on the air today. Oh, it's always something. Today it was about a dog. Today was, well, it's almost always about the dog. But today it's the dog decided. Just as I sat down here to start the stream, the dog started barking outside the door. Had to let the dog in, which would normally just be about a 10, 15 second ordeal. But this one turned into a good 5-6 minute thing because the dog had muddy paws. And so we had to, me and my son, we had to wrestle the dog to the ground. The dog had to be held to the ground, fighting and kicking and scratching. And then individually with paper towels, we had to clean out underneath all of her little claws. She's got claws and she gets big clumps of mud in there. And it's crazy. Anyway, that's why we were late. So I do apologize. Byron's here. Leslie's here. Jen's here. Michael's here. Oh, my goodness. Jeff is here. We got all the people here. Come on in. Come one. Come all. We'll get all of this started. First of all, let me just say, I hope you all had a wonderful New Year's Eve. We had a very nice New Year's Eve. My son and I, we went skating. We went ice skating at the Galleria. You know how they, hold on. Why is this not tight? This needs to be tighter. I have a new mic stand, a new mic thing. Thank you to Ed, the president, CEO, founder, RadioMisfits.com. Sent me a new mic thing, and I love it. I absolutely love it, but I just didn't tighten it quick enough. So we went ice skating. We went to the Galleria. We went ice skating. My kid's turning into a pretty good ice skater, which is interesting. I can't ice skate anymore. Apparently, my ankles no longer support the act, and I rented these skates at the Galleria there. You rent your skate, you pay for the ice time, and then they give you skates, and you put the skates on. I don't know if you've ever been. And I put these skates on, and these skates were just such garbage skates. Can you bring your own skates? Not that I have my own skates anymore, but could you bring your own skates? Because these skates that they had me in, there was a piece of plastic right near my ankle bone, and it dug right into my ankle bone. And it was like, it wasn't bleeding. Okay, it wasn't bleeding, but it was almost bleeding. It was rubbed completely raw after like one half trip around the rink. I was like, I can't do this. I go, my ankles will not support this. This hurts. It was terrible. Anyway, that's what we did. And then the boy and I, we went to Hooters. We went to Hooters in Addison. And we had wings and we watched some football. We watched a little TCU. Pretty good football game. Pretty good football days for those of us who live in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. TCU playing a national championship game. Cowboys looking unstoppable. Well, okay, I wouldn't say unstoppable, but Cowboys looking good. We'll give them that. And then we came home, and we watched football, and we didn't really do anything. I don't know, at midnight. You know what we realized on midnight of New Year's Eve? This was very strange. I love everything about unplugging from television and going with a full stream. But the one night a year where you get totally screwed if all you do is stream your TV is New Year's Eve, because the stream is not perfectly in time. You know what I'm saying? The stream is always delayed. Every different stream in my house is delayed by about, 5, 10, 15 seconds. So like if I'm watching cable TV in one room and it's on, say, ABC, ESPN. So the cable TV is on ESPN, cable TV or satellite, whatever. Cable TV is on ESPN. If the same ESPN channel is on in the other room, but I'm streaming it, it's going to be 15 seconds slower, like 15 seconds behind what the TV is. So about 10 minutes to midnight, I'm thinking, all right, we're going to have to tune over to one of these local channels because we're going to want to do the countdown for midnight. And I went, oh my God, the countdown's going to be off. So I had to set an alarm on my phone. I literally set an alarm on my phone. And then we did a countdown with the phone, and we're watching it on TV, like it's on TV, but we're counting down. And at this point, we were in bed because it was a long day. He was on his bed and on his tablet, and I was, watching TV in the bedroom. So we were just laying in there, and we count down and we do Happy New Year. And then we look at the TV, and they're like still counting down on the TV. We're like, And the fireworks are going off outside our window. So the real world is happening. It's just the stream was like 15 minutes behind. So there you go. Fix that problem, streaming. And then, you'll be 100% better than regular TV. Although that's not true either. All right. You know what? I'm not going to get out of my whole thing about streaming. I do enjoy streaming, but I am struggling with some of the differences between, for instance, here's another thing that doesn't exist anymore. You know what doesn't exist with smart TVs? You know what doesn't exist with apps, watching apps? Channel surfing. Remember how I used to be so good at channel surfing? You just lay on the couch, you point the remote, and you go 1 channel, 2 channel, 3 channel, 4 channel, and it just shows you all the channels instantly. Try doing that with a smart TV. All right, let's see what's on. Let's check Netflix, and then it spins and it buffers and then Netflix comes up, and then click your channel on Netflix. Click my channel, and it spins and it spins. It spins and it goes to Netflix, and I'm like, okay, what do I want to watch? And then I'll watch this, and then I click it, and it spins. And it spins. That's how you channel surf with streaming. You can't just click. It's everything. Every channel is like a 45-second to 1 minute labor. It's like, anyway, that's enough of my problems. I'm trying to get into what we do here on the High Noon Show, which is bring you up to date on all the headlines, current events, breaking news, all that kind of stuff. Except I woke up today thinking it was just the first Monday of the year, and it turns out that this is still a holiday. What is going on here? What is it because New Year's Day was on a Sunday? What, the year can't start on a Sunday? That sounds like the perfect time for the year to start. Nobody's at work today. Nobody's in school today. There are bowl games on all day today. I feel like I should be making a roast. I feel like today should be New Year's Day. So, as a consequence of this apparent extended holiday weekend, Monday, there's not a whole lot of news. People are still off, like all the actual journalists. Yeah, there are some. They're all still on vacation. It's all just a bunch of scrubs on TV still. I don't know when we're going to get back to normal, but we're going to jump in. We're going to try and do a normal show as best we can. All right, so let's get started. Oh, I should also tell you that we will be doing a Pillow Talk tonight. Pillow Talk is the second stream that I do every day. This is the first one, the High Noon Show, noon till whenever, every Monday through Friday. Then we do a second stream. We call it Pillow Talk. It's myself and James Parker. Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk. And that comes... need to clear my... That comes on at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday, Pillow Talk. We will be doing a Pillow Talk tonight. All right, let's get into, although now that I am reminded of it, there might be a hitch. But as of right now, there is a Pillow Talk scheduled for tonight. There's going to be a Pillow Talk tonight. I'll do a Pillow Talk, even if James can't make it. So there you go. All right, let's get into what today is. Today is January 2nd. Year of our Lord, 2023. First time I've said that. January 2nd, for those of you who don't know, is the second day of the year, and there are 363 days remaining until the end of the year. Dare I say it, get those New Year's Eve plans started. All right, let's get into what happened today. First, this is how we do the day. We tell you everything you need to know about this particular day. We start out with giving you the history, the things that occurred on this day, the things that shaped what this day may become. Then we go through the births. We celebrate some of the contributions of those who were born onto this plane on this day, and then we mourn some of the passings. Let's get into the history. On this day in 1788, Georgia becomes the fourth state to ratify the United States Constitution. Thank you, Georgia, fourth state. 60 years later, they'd be rethinking that constitutional adoption, yeah. 1900, the year 1900, the Chicago Canal opens. Now, why is this a big deal? Because it's one of the engineering marvels of the modern world. Here's a funny story. So the Chicago canals were canals that were built to connect the Des Plaines River and I don't know, I think it's the Des Plaines and something else, and the Chicago River. The Des Plaines River and the Chicago River are two rivers that run through the Chicago area. The Chicago River dumps into Lake Michigan. Both of these rivers, they needed to connect these rivers so that you could have an unencumbered sort of path to the Mississippi through the Great Lakes, thus basically connecting the world. If you could connect the Great Lakes to the Mississippi River through Chicago, through coming down Canada, oh my God, you could have access all the way to the port of New Orleans, which is the goal. So they built the canal so that they could have this sort of unencumbered access to the Mississippi River for shipping and all that stuff. But one of the things that they realized as the city of Chicago began to grow was that everybody was pooping. Everybody in Chicago started pooping, as humans are wont to do. And the poop was being dumped into the river and then pushed off into the lake. So the beaches, well, there were no beaches at this point, but the lake shore of Chicago was just a giant toilet. So the people in Chicago said, hey, with these canals, what if we reversed the flow of nature? What if we reversed, instead of having all of our poop that we're dumping into the river through our sanitary canal, what if all the poop, instead of flowing into Lake Michigan, what if we reversed the flow of these rivers and just send it into the Mississippi and let St. Louis deal with it? And that's what they did in Chicago. That's kind of one of the reasons why St. Louis hates Chicago, because we put all of our poop, and instead of dealing with our poop ourselves, we just engineered a marvel and we reversed the flow of the river and by creating these canals. And it was on this day. And now St. Louis has to deal with all of our poop. Suck it, St. Louis. Born on this day in 1920, or not born on this day, but in 1920, the second Palmer raid was ordered by the United States Department of Justice. It resulted in 6,000 suspected communists and anarchists being arrested and held without trial. People get all flipped out now, right? Like people seeing all like the shady shit that like the Trump people were getting into and all that. And they're like, oh, pearl clutching, like, oh, this could never be. Stop it. This shit here. The media, I hate the media. You know, that's who we blame for all this stuff, right? No, thank God for the media. Thank God for the media bringing this up, because you know what they weren't? In 1920, during the Palmer raids, which were just roundups of people who thought differently, American citizens who thought differently, who weren't Republican or Democrat, they were rounded up and they were put in cages and they were held without trial. In America, this was the Department of Justice. Could you imagine if CNN or Fox News or MSNBC got a hold of that story today? The Department of Justice rounding up 6,000 American citizens because they were suspected of being anarchists and communists? Look, the system has always been screwed up. And today it's convenient to blame the media for pointing all of this shit out. But you know what? We need the media to point this shit out. Now, I'm not saying it's always good. I'm not saying that they're not money driven. They are. That's something that needs to be addressed with the modern media. The modern dissemination of information should not be dependent on sponsorships, is how I feel. But that's how it is right now. But in 1920, you had nobody willing to go against the Department of Justice. Why? Because communism was bad. And the super rich people who ran the newspapers, and there were only newspapers back then. It's not like there was cable news or news radio or talk show hosts. There was none of that. It was only newspapers. So the people who controlled the newspapers went, oh, the Department of Justice is just rounding up and holding without trial a bunch of citizens? Yeah, let's not report that because they're communists and we're in the business of making money. That's how the country was in 1920. So stop acting like it's so different in 2020. It's not. The difference is that now we have people seeing this stuff and going, hey, they're doing that. And unfortunately, for a whole bunch of you, you're going to the people who are saying, hey, they're doing that, and going, shut up, you're the media. Stop it. Have you ever heard the expression, don't kill the messenger? That comes from like olden times, and by olden I mean medieval times, when a messenger would return to a king's court from a battlefield and give the king bad news, and the king would kill the messenger for bringing well, kill the messenger is still a thing, and it's the media sucks. I only like Hannity. I only like Tucker. I only like Rachel Maddow. Shut up. Shut up. Don't kill the messenger. Be smart enough to be able to go, oh, that sounds like it's got some spin on it. The way they're presenting this sounds like it's a little bit not quite on the up. Be able to do that, but don't kill the messenger. We need people telling us what's going on because you aren't doing it, and I ain't doing it. I'm sitting here. On this day in 1959, Luna 1, the first spacecraft to reach the vicinity of the moon and to orbit the sun, is launched by the United States of America. No, Soviet Union. Soviet Union did Luna 1. A whole bunch of, this is another bit of our revisionist history that we like to do here in America. It's like, we only learn about the stuff we did. We don't realize that other countries did a whole bunch of cool spacey stuff too. But, we did the big one, the moon landing. All of the little things that led up to the moon landing, the Soviet Union was pretty much a couple of months ahead of us on almost everything. Well, Luna 1. On this day in 1959. On this day in 1975, we won the space race. Don't get it wrong. We got to the moon first. So ultimately, we won the game. But we were losing for a good 3.5 quarters. 1974, the United States President Richard Nixon signs a bill lowering the maximum U.S. speed limit to 55 in order to conserve gasoline. I can't drive 55. 55 saves lives. I remember that as a kid, all those commercials. I didn't know any different. What did it used to be? What was it like before this day in 1974? It was 100. I mean, what were the speed limits? In 1965, if you were on one of these new modern American expressway, what was the speed limit? 65, 70? I don't know. I like 70. I like 70 and like wide open, that's nice. 75 is good. I don't know. Anyway, there are parts of this country, however, that do not need speed limits. There are large stretches of this country where if you have a car and you can do 120 miles an hour, you ain't going to see another car for, an hour. You're just going to be alone on a road. I think about that all the time when I used to drive between Chicago and Dallas, where you get in this stretch of like, I don't know, Arkansas, Tennessee, where it's just, there's nothing. It's just wide open. And I'm like, why can't I do 120 here? Because your car can't do 120. But what if my car could do 120? Wouldn't that be cool? All right, that's it for the history. Like I said, not even a lot of history on this day. Maybe throughout time, people have been taking today easy. I don't know. Some birthdays. Let's go into some birthdays. Here's a big birthday. Born on this day in 1926, died in 2019. A name that I mentioned the other day when I was talking about Doug Atkins. It was Doug Atkins' birthday. Doug Atkins, Hall of Famer. I described Doug Atkins and this guy, happy birthday, Gino Marchetti, as being two of the most important defensive players in the history of football. Every position, I mean, you go back to football, 1950s, 1940s, whatever, but the game was different in the 20s. But as it started to become the modern game that we know now, there are certain players at certain positions who revolutionized the position. And the position of defensive end was revolutionized by a guy by the name of Gino Marchetti. Gino Marchetti and Doug Atkins are mostly considered the guys who changed the defensive end position. The edge rusher. They invented the edge rusher. Today, it's second most important position on a football field. You want to get your quarterback and then you want to get your edge rusher. Left tackle is important. Wide receiver is also, corner is important. Okay, so those are the four most important positions, the four highest paid positions. Anyway, Gino Marchetti, born on this day in 1926. You don't know who he is because he was born on this day in 1926, but if you're one of those old head football historians, you definitely know who Gino Marchetti is. Born on this day in 1928, one of the biggest pieces of garbage the United States Congress has ever produced. Dan Rostenkowski, Old Rosty. One of the most corrupt pieces of garbage. He was chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, and it turned out that he was stealing all kinds of money from the House Post Office, and you just bullshit, just weird, like crazy little piddly shit that Dan Rostenkowski was getting involved in. Just a total piece of garbage. When you think of the backroom deal, corrupt, shady politician, Dan Rostenkowski should come into your mind. Good riddance. He died in 2010. See you later. Born on this day in 1940, Jim Baker, American televangelist. First of all, he spells his name wrong. Jim Bakker spells Baker with 2 Ks. What? Bakker? That doesn't seem right, but whatever. This guy, he didn't learn. He didn't learn. He's a piece of garbage. He fooled the world. He took a bunch of poor, desperate people's money. Took a whole bunch of people's money, went to jail, right? Had a breakdown. His wife, Tammy Faye, left him. He comes out of jail, and now he's doing it again. He's back to being a televangelist. He's selling like miracle cures to desperate people. He is a complete piece of garbage. Burn in hell. Please pass on to whatever is next for you as soon as possible. Jim Bakker, you are garbage. Who else do we have? Oh, somebody else who's garbage. Man, it is a garbage birthday day. If today's your birthday, you share a birthday with a lot of garbage people. 1942, born on this day. Here's one. Dennis Hastert. That's right. Ooh, we talked about Dan Rostenkowski being a piece of garbage. Dennis Hastert, American educator, politician. He was the 59th Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, don't you know? Dennis Hastert, Speaker of the House, super powerful, child molester, raped a whole bunch of boys when he was a wrestling coach. Do we forget about Dennis Hastert? Do we forget about Dennis Hastert of the conservative values and the family first and all that stuff? Do we forget about Dennis Hastert? The guy who, when he was a wrestling coach in Illinois, apparently molested a whole bunch of his kids. Did Dennis Hastert go to jail? He better have gone to jail. Is he dead? He's not dead yet. You know, I have a friend. A friend who was a very big Dennis Hastert supporter. Very proud when he made the Speaker of the House. And, Hastert's coming and blah, blah, blah. Why? Because this dude was a wrestler and Dennis Hastert was his wrestling coach. And when the things about Dennis Hastert started to come out, in the beginning, he was like, nah, I don't believe it. Now, this dude, my friend, is the biggest Dennis Hastert hater in the world. He's like, yeah, he was my wrestling coach, and it turned out he was a total piece of shit. I mean, this kid, he's a dude, he's a grown man now, he's my age. But, you know, over the course of the investigation, he started to learn things about people that he had wrestled with who were molested, and he's like, holy shit, I had no idea this was going on. Dennis Hastert, total piece of shit. Let's see here. John Dennis Hastert is an American former politician and convicted felon who represented Illinois' 14th Congressional District. He was the Speaker of the House of Representatives from 1999 to 2007, 8 years as Speaker, the longest-serving Republican Speaker of the House in history. Hastert resigned and began work as a lobbyist after the Democrats gained a majority in the chamber in 2007. From 1965 to 1981, Hastert was a high school teacher and coach at Yorkville High School in Yorkville, Illinois. He lost a 1980 bid for the Illinois House of Representatives, but ran again. In May of 2015, Hastert was indicted on federal charges of structuring bank withdrawals to evade bank reporting requirements and making false statements. Now, this banking stuff that he got convicted of, he was paying off students that he molested. When he became Speaker of the House, he started writing checks to all these kids that he diddled. Referring to Hastert as a serial child molester, a federal Speaker of the House, a federal judge called him a serial child molester. Referring to Hastert as a serial child molester, a federal judge imposed a sentence of 15 months in prison, 2 years supervised release, and $250,000 fine. Hastert was imprisoned in 2016 and was released 13 months later. He became the highest-ranking elected official in U.S. history to serve a prison sentence. Happy birthday to you, you piece of absolute garbage, Dennis Hastert. Who else is celebrating a birthday today? Calvin Hill. Let's move on to somebody we all like. Calvin Hill, Dallas Cowboy running back, legend. Grant Hill's dad. Calvin Hill's around. Calvin Hill, I've seen Calvin Hill a number of times over the 20-some years that I've been in and out of this Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Never met him, but been in the same room with him and been like, oh, dude, that's Calvin Hill. That's totally cool. Happy birthday, Calvin Hill. Also born on this day in 1947, umbilical cousins with Calvin Hill. Here's somebody we all know and love. Jack Hanna of the Columbus Zoo. Remember Jack Hanna? Jack Hanna of the Columbus Zoo. He was always on Letterman. He was always on, he did a whole bunch of shows. He did the TV shows. Like, he'd bring out animals. And the thing about Jack Hanna is that he was so innocent. He was like a grown man who was an expert on these animals, but he was so innocent. And almost you'd think like, oh, isn't he kind of a rube? I mean, he wasn't. He was a very, very smart guy at what he did. But he had this presentation, this charisma that was so disarming. And so like you could see why animals loved him, because he was just so Jack Hanna's having a tough time. Jack Hanna is suffering. You haven't seen him in a few years. You haven't seen him. He retired. His family only speaks for him now. Jack Hanna, celebrating a birthday today, is suffering from severe dementia. They thought it was Alzheimer's disease, but it is severe dementia, and so he has retired from the public spotlight. And God love you, Jack Hanna. You made me smile a lot of times. I always thought you were very funny. Born on this day in 1964, Pernell Whitaker, American boxer. He died in 2019. Sweet Pea Whitaker, man. Sweet Pea was one of the best fighters, and I think Ring Magazine has him as like one of the top 10 greatest fighters of all time. Back late 80s, early 90s, when he won the gold medal, and then he ran through multiple divisions. He was a multiple belt winner. Pernell Whitaker, I think he lost his last 4 fights and then he retired, but he had been like undefeated with, I think he had 1 loss in his first like 30 fights or something. He was ridiculously good. It all started with the Oscar De La Hoya fight. He lost to Oscar De La Hoya, which was a really big fight. It was very early in Oscar's career. Oscar was the ascending superstar, and Pernell Whitaker was the descending guy who, basically if Oscar needed to beat Pernell Whitaker to prove that Oscar was Oscar. He beat Pernell, and that was pretty much it. I think Pernell Whitaker had a couple more fights after that, and then he retired. Pernell Whitaker was killed in Virginia Beach crossing a street. Just walking across the street and a car hit him and killed him. Pernell Whitaker, born on this day in 1964, died in 2019. Born on this day in 1967, Tia Carrera. Here's a little something for guys like me from the 80s. Tia Carrera, Wayne's World. Remember, she was like the exotic beauty that Wayne fell for? What'd she do? She ever do anything else? I don't know. I think her sister's a porn star, right? Wasn't that the rumor? Didn't she have a sister that was a porn star? I don't know. I don't know enough about porn. I never really looked it up. But, Tia Carrera, there you go. Born on this day in 1968, Cuba Gooding Jr., American actor and producer. Show me the money. They gave him an Oscar, right? Cuba Gooding Jr. is an Oscar winner. Hadn't really done anything since then, right? I mean, like, what does Cuba Gooding do? Is Cuba Gooding, you'd think a dude with an Oscar, made some poor choices, I think. I think after he won the Oscar, he made some very poor choices, and then people were like, oh, he's making stupid movies now. Anyway, happy birthday to you, Cuba Gooding Jr., born on this day in 1968. Born on this day in 1975, one of my favorite people. I absolutely love his podcast, Dak Shepard, celebrating a birthday today. Dak Shepard, married to the delightful Kristen Bell. They're my favorite Hollywood power couple. They're my favorite too. It used to be whoever, I can't even think of her name now. Who's the guy? There's a good question. Who's the guy married to that girl that I used to like? Come on, people, help me out. Ashton Kutcher and whoever he's married to. They're now second. Only because I started listening to the Dak Shepard podcast, and I just love them as a couple. I think they're really great. Dak Shepard and Kristen Bell, they seem very happy. I will actually be upset should they get a divorce. I don't think they will, though. They got such a great relationship. All right, let's run through some deaths. First of all, we got to do something here on this first death. Bear with me, folks. We're going to make a quick phone call here. Hold on. We'll get this.
Hey there.
Hey, we're live on the stream. We're about to do celebrity deaths. I have a quick question for you. Do you know who Alan Hale Jr. is?
No.
So you didn't know who Mary Ann was from Gilligan's Island, and you also don't know who the skipper was.
The hell would I know that for?
I don't know. You're a human. Okay, see you tonight at 9. Okay, there he goes. That's James. Did not know who Alan Hale Jr. was. On Friday, he didn't know who Dawn Wells was. She's, of course, Marianne. How the hell would I know that? I don't know, because you're a human being, because you have an interest in the world around you. I don't know. I don't know how you would know that. Alan Hale Jr., the skipper, died on this day in 1990. Also dead on this day in 2019. Here's one. You may not know this name. Do you guys know who Daryl Dragon is? Do you guys know Daryl Dragon? Anybody? Daryl Dragon, Captain and Tennille. That's right. Daryl Dragon of Captain and Tennille died on this day in 2019. Wait a second. When did I say Alan Hale Jr. died? Alan Hale Jr. died on this day in 1990. Daryl Dragon of Captain and Tennille died on this day in 2019. Okay, now we got those. Those are right. What else do we have here? Oh, here's one. Here's a heartbreaking one. I think we all felt this, at least some of us. Let's see if I can get down to this. Let's see here. Bob Einstein died on this day in 2019. I can't believe it's been 3 years since Super Dave Osborne died. Super Dave Osborne, Bob Einstein. Let's show him the respect. Let's call him by his real name, Bob Einstein, brother of Albert Brooks. Just one of the funniest people. Never really carried anything out of the Funkhauser. He's Funkhauser on Curb Your Enthusiasm. If you love Curb Your Enthusiasm, Funkhauser. Maybe you know him from his character that he had from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, Super Dave Osborne. He was a parody of Evel Knievel. He was so funny. Bob Einstein, brother of Albert Brooks, dead on this day in 2019. Okay, that's going to do it for all of the history of January the 2nd. Do we feel like we have a good understanding of what this day has represented throughout time? Are we comfortable moving forward and talking about all the things that are happening today? All right, because there's not a whole lot happening today, guys. I got to be honest with you. Let me take some water here. All right, first and foremost, apparently football is a thing. There's a whole bunch of football games on today. It's a Monday. Aren't we getting back to work? When do we get back to work? When does normalcy return to our schedules and our habits? I woke up today thinking, okay, it's Monday. I'm right, Monday. It's the Monday after New Year's. The holidays are over. Let's move forward. Let's do this. And then it's a full day of football. The Rose Bowl is on. The Cotton Bowl is happening just down the street. There's a Monday night football game on tonight, which is a really big game. Buffalo versus Cincinnati, right? Is that the game? Did I have that right? I know it's Buffalo. I think it's Buffalo, Cincinnati. Is this even a day? I don't even know what's happening today. So anyway, if you want to watch football, you're probably not at work. You're laying around. You're doing nothing. Apparently, we're still in the holiday season. I thought it was over today. It's not. Also trending, NYPD. Did you see this? There was an attack on some police officers in Times Square over the weekend. And by the way, did anybody bother watching CNN? CNN did their. It's CNN New Year's with Anderson Cooper. It used to be Kathy Griffin, but then she was really good. Kathy Griffin. I'm not a Kathy Griffin fan, but Kathy Griffin was really good with Anderson Cooper. She was good. That was interesting. She was good. And then, of course, she was too good, so they had to get her off there because she said something provocative. Yeah, she's a loose cannon. She's a crazy lady. You put her on camera, she's going to say crazy stuff. You're not going to agree with all of it, but, some of it might be kind of interesting. Anyway, it was always good. And then they replaced her with Andy Cohen. And I'm not a big Andy Cohen fan. I think Andy Cohen is a little much. I think there's a little bit of too much of Andy Cohen all the time. That fake smile. He's always got that fake smile. That's such a fake smile. First of all, he's a shark. Andy Cohen is a shark. In the boardroom. He didn't get to where he is. He didn't, Andy Cohen's not a TV guy, TV in front of the camera guy. And he's an executive. He's a television executive. He created the whole Bravo thing. He was in charge of programming when A&E or Bravo or whatever, he came up with the Real Housewives concept. And now he's basically the king of that channel. He's like the president of the channel. He also hosts all those shows. Anyway, so he's a shark. He's a business guy. He knows what he's doing. So they replaced Kathy Griffin with Anderson Cooper. And then they got a new boss at CNN, Chris Licht, who made a new edict going into this New Year's Eve, which was no drinking on New Year's Eve. So now it's just Anderson Cooper and this insufferable Andy Cohen. And they're not even drinking. And it's not even, worth watching. First of all, I never liked the way CNN. Okay, let me take a breath. If I'm sitting there watching a couple of drunken news people say really stupid stuff for 2 hours on New Year's Eve, that's interesting and I won't turn away. However, when you talk about the degradation to the reputation and how people view CNN, I think nothing has done more damage to CNN and CNN's on-air talent than their behaviors on New Year's Eve the past 10, 15 years. They have been imbecilic at best. I mean, I've seen a wasted Don Lemon, with a Brooke Baldwin who's no longer there, sitting there, just Don Lemon almost crying about not being able to find a boyfriend. This is someone that we're supposed to listen to us give updates on, like, terror alerts and stuff like that. We're watching him on New Year's Eve crying about, I don't want to see. Don't make our news people human. As a matter of fact, you know what? Make all journalists robots now. Just have robots without any personal agendas or any. I don't want to know. Nobody wanted to see Walter Cronkite crying about a girl that broke his heart. Okay? Nobody ever wanted to see that. Those stupid CNN where let's just show them that we're real people too and that we have fun on New Year's Eve. Like, that was like the whole thing. Let's humanize let's make Jake Tapper seem like a fun guy. No, I don't want Jake Tapper to seem like a fun guy, okay? I want Jake Tapper to be the guy who tells me when the nukes are 20 minutes from my doorstep. That's what I want from Jake. That's what I want from CNN. So what they did this year was they actually tried to, we're going to do it the way we always do it. We're going to have fun, but we're not going to drink anymore. We're going to be serious. So you're going to have fun, but serious. So serious fun. What the hell are you? It was a disaster. It was it was unwatchable. I put it on and I watched it for like 5 minutes and then quickly lost interest. And it was on in the background, but I really only saw clips that were circulating elsewhere. It was so stupid. So while CNN was they should have just canceled it. Here's how CNN should handle New Year's Eve. They should have a news person in a newsroom. Just show us the celebrations from around the country and then just do news. And if there's not news to do, then just run like Year in Review. Why why are they competing with Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve? Why is that why is that a fight CNN wanted to get into? Because now they're in it. And now, stupid. Anyway, while that was happening, while that train wreck was going on, there was something very serious occurring down in. See, they could have covered this live. They could have covered it live, but instead, Anderson Cooper had to throw it to Jason Derulo with a special New Year's Eve song. They could have had the cameras were there. Why didn't CNN break in and cover this live as it was happening? Why didn't they? Because they were busy doing other stupid New Year's Eve stuff that has nothing to do with news, but has more to do with entertainment, and just stop it. The 19-year-old being held by New York police as the suspect in a New Year's Eve machete attack against 3 police officers just outside of Times Square security zone carried a handwritten diary that expressed his desire to join the Taliban in Afghanistan and die as a martyr. Law enforcement. Well, he got that part of his wish, right? Didn't he get shot and killed? Trevor Bickford. Oh, no, he's in custody. Oh, he's being held. I thought he was dead. How did this guy not get killed? Trevor Bickford remains in custody and under police guard at Bellevue Hospital, where he's being treated for a gunshot wound to the shoulder sustained during the attack. The 3 officers injured at one of New York's most high-profile events just a day after their department had warned of an ISIS-aligned video calling for lone offender attacks. All 3 have been treated and released, according to the New York Police Department. On Sunday, federal authorities from the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York and the Manhattan District Attorney's Office were discussing whether to charge Bickford federally or under state law, or both, in relation to the attack. The suspect has not been charged, and it is unclear whether he has an attorney. Let's see here. Investigators believe Bickford arrived Thursday in New York and checked into a hotel on Manhattan's Lower East Side. Oh, he's not even from New York. He traveled there for this. Saturday, he went just after 10 p.m. to the Times Square checkpoint at West 52nd Street and 8th Avenue, where officers would check bags for weapons or suspicious items. Bickford pulled out a machete, striking one officer with the blade and another officer in the head with the handle before swinging the blade at the third officer, who then shot him in the shoulder. Investigators on Sunday were seeking search warrants for the suspect's phone and online activities to determine if he had been viewing violent extremist propaganda. All right, so we're still dealing with these guys. Somebody should let them know that, the whole Taliban Afghanistan isn't going so well for them. Maybe now is not the time to be joining up with those kids. Shit ain't been going the way they had hoped, at least the last 5 years. So there you go. Godspeed to those police officers and F that guy, right? Speaker of the House is trending. We don't get into politics here. We don't do divisive politics. We don't like to do that stuff. But the Speaker of the House is trending. Kevin McCarthy is trying to gain control. The Republicans have won control of the House of Representatives. Nancy Pelosi is no longer Speaker of the House, or at least she isn't in the near future going to be. So Kevin McCarthy has thought that it was his role to ascend. But unfortunately, his party, there is so much division within his party that they're making his life miserable. Like this is, I got to tell you, Kevin McCarthy has done everything his entire life to one day be Speaker of the House. And now here is his chance. And Matt Gaetz is going to stop him from being Speaker of the House. I just have to laugh at that. I don't care. Compromise candidate would be fine. Get us a compromise candidate, whatever. See, the normal people in the left side of the Congress and the normal people on the right side of the Congress are sitting here going, oh, you idiots are trying to put an idiot in charge. Okay, so we've got an issue. So we'll see how this all plays out. But the Speaker of the House race is quite interesting here in America. Weather. We got weather. We got more of these storms. Weather. There's like storms are coming. It's going to rain here for the next, 2 days, something. What is the current temperature? I had my air conditioning on last night. The humidity was unbearable. It was like 75 with 100% humidity. We were sweating. It's 74 degrees currently, and it's just gray. It's supposed to just pour down rain for the next few hours. But that's not that. Look, we're getting nothing. There is a very big weather storm that is like at the top end of this thing that we're just getting hit by the tail of it. It's gonna do more snow. Look, it's been a crazy winter, right? For snowfalls and anyway, third round coming this week. Batten down the hatches. Not here. I think here it's just gonna be rainy. Barbara Walters is trending. Barbara Walters died on Friday. Was it on Friday that she died? Barbara Walters. I don't know what to say about Barbara Walters. I always kind of dug Barbara Walters. I mean, what dug her? I don't know. I mean, here's all. I didn't have hatred for Barbara Walters. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I don't like that woman. No, I mean, Barbara Walters she was such a staple of my life growing up. You know, whether it was 2020 with her and Hugh Downs, she was just always there. She's always there. And now she's gone. And I'm getting older. And, when I see like these people, these icons of my life growing up, and Barbara Walters is without a doubt an icon. I mean, what woman in media would die that would eclipse Barbara Walters? Maybe Oprah. That's it. I couldn't think of it. It's Oprah and Barbara Walters. And I would put Oprah at a slightly higher level than because of just pure influence. But man, yeah. So Barbara Walters, 95. I think she was 95 years old. Barbara Walters. Doesn't it seem like Barbara Walters was just like on TV a couple months ago? I mean, it doesn't seem, that's how important she's been for the past 50, 60 years of her career. She was so everywhere all the time. She was just such a constant that now she probably hasn't been on the air in years. And we're like, oh yeah, that's right. We haven't seen Barbara Walters. How's Diane Sawyer doing? Anybody want to check on Diane Sawyer? Is Diane Sawyer still hot? Diane Sawyer, man. Diane Sawyer's like 80 years old and she's still very attractive. I don't know how that. I don't know. Anyway, God bless you, Barbara Walters. Thank you for all the whatever, and best thoughts to those who loved you and who are mourning your passing right now. The Idaho murder suspect
And I don't know. I'm really, you know how deep I've been on this story. I've been watching this story. I've been trying to figure out every little thing. There's been nothing. There's been no information on this story. They completely blacked it out for the first 2 months. And then all of a sudden last Friday, we got an arrest. That's right. Out there in Pennsylvania, they arrested 28-year-old, or is he 27? I've seen it reported two different ways. 27-year-old Brian Koberger of Pennsylvania has been arrested for the murders of 4 students at the University of Idaho there in Moscow, Idaho. This happened just before Thanksgiving, so about 2 months ago now. There had been no leads. People have been looking for a white Hyundai Elantra. Turns out this dude drives a white Hyundai Elantra. Hey, look at that. So they had the right thing. Now, the Hyundai Elantra, this was very early, from the very beginning, like within a week or so of this story breaking. The Hyundai Elantra was captured on a gas station video camera, not like even in the gas station. Like he didn't stop at the gas station, as we learned about Brian. He's too smart for that. The camera picked him up just whizzing down the road in front of the gas station. And because it's Moscow, Idaho, and because this was like 4:15 in the morning, he was the only car. It was like the only car. So around the time that this is in the middle of a town. This isn't rural. I mean, it is rural for the most part, but in this little condensed area is a town with stores and a university and bars and a main strip and in neighborhoods and all that kind of stuff. But in that part, the town and the neighborhoods and the college campus, at 4:15 in the morning, there were no other cars on the road. And then all of a sudden, they determined that the murders occurred at this time. And then, oh, look, about 10 minutes after the murders, what's that white car going? Who's that? Let's find out who that person is. Let's eliminate that person as a suspect. And they couldn't do it. They didn't know who that person was. So they've been looking for this car. And as it turns out, Brian Koberger, want to make sure I get his name right. Want to be respectful to Brian, who, the more you look at, man, just looks like a demon. He just looks like a guy that would do this kind of things. He's a student at Washington State University. Now, the murders occurred at the University of Idaho. And I'm like, so he drove a couple. Did you guys know? I didn't know this. University of Idaho and Washington State University are 10 minutes away from each other. You look at them on a map. I mean, these are two big universities. Typically, big universities are an hour and a half, something like that, away from each other. He literally was 10 minutes. He lived on a different college campus, went to a different university in a different state, and he lived 10 minutes away from where he committed these murders. Brian's also, as we learned, a criminal justice specialist working on his PhD in criminology. It's starting to look as if he felt he was smarter than the police and wanted to use all of his criminal justice knowledge to outsmart them and possibly commit the perfect crime. Going so far as to, in the weeks following the murders, people who knew Brian on the University of Washington campus, Brian, I'm talking about like we give a shit about this guy. People who knew him said that in the days and weeks following the murders, everywhere he went, he wore gloves. He wore plastic gloves everywhere after the murders. Why? Because he was smart. He didn't want to leave. If he was a suspect and he was being followed, he didn't want anything that he touched to be, evidence for DNA. If they were trying, he just did. He did a whole bunch of really smart things. And honestly, it looks like they got him cold. There is so much circumstantial evidence. There's a report out there that he may have actually been stalking one of these Kylie conclaves, that he may have been stalking her, because there are reports now. Again, be careful about these reports. Everything will be made official tomorrow. Tomorrow is when we're expected to have the full-on press conference where the details and why he was arrested will be released. Why tomorrow? Because there's a law in the state of Idaho that says you cannot give details on a suspect. You cannot make public details about someone you think did something until you have them in your state, and they have been arraigned in front of one of your judges. So whatever the reason is for bringing them in the state of Idaho, right? We got this warrant for this guy. In the state of Idaho, you can't say the warrant says this and we want him for this because this is what we figured out until that person goes in front of a judge in Idaho and the judge looks at it and goes, yeah, you can make that public. That's because the fear is that they get the wrong guy and they put his name out there, which they're allowed to do. And they did put out the name Brian Kohberger. But then you attach all these grisly things to the name, and then the judge sees it and the judge goes, this is all bullshit. This is case dismissed. Then you've got an innocent guy whose name has been put out there with all of that. So that's why. That's why in Idaho they have this law where they're not going to tell you the details of why they're arresting him until they have him in custody and until a judge looks at it and goes, yeah, this is a real case. It looks like we got him. So we're going to find all of that out tomorrow. Extradition was thought to have been an issue. They thought he would fight the extradition back to Idaho from Pennsylvania, but apparently he's going to waive that. So tomorrow he is going to see a judge. Tomorrow morning in Pennsylvania, where the extradition hearing is expected to go through. And after that, he'll be walked over onto a plane, and that plane will fly him to Idaho. He will be put in custody there in Moscow, Idaho, for the murders of these 4 people. And at that point, he'll go in front of a judge. A judge will say, okay, let's lock him up. And then they'll release everything. Then tomorrow evening, tomorrow's Pillow Talk, we'll have all the details. We should. Tomorrow's Pillow Talk, why they thought it was him, what they believe the motive was, all of the stuff that we're hearing about. His cell phone was pinging by Kylie. He was stalking her for weeks, which is one of the stories that is unconfirmed, but it's one of the things that's out there. So we'll find all of that out. Let's just be patient. We got one more day. We got this guy in custody. Tomorrow when he's in Idaho, then we'll find out more. All right. Here's another one. This one was troubling. This happened last night, and I was very concerned because I like Jeremy Renner. Jeremy Renner is trending. Did you guys hear about Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye from the Marvel Universe, Hurt Locker, great actor. I really like Jeremy Renner. Jeremy Renner is a cool actor. He had a bad accident, man. Jeremy Renner has been airlifted after a snowplow accident. He is facing extensive injuries. So Jeremy Renner on New Year's Day, yesterday, Sunday, was up at his house in Tahoe. And apparently they got hit with a New Year's Eve storm that left like a couple feet of snow all over his property. And Jeremy Renner is a big snow guy. He loves the snow. His Instagram is filled with pictures of him up at his Reno home with his big giant. He's got a snowplow. Jeremy Renner has a snowplow. Not like one of these things you see like where you push it. Jeremy Renner's got like a diesel truck with a cab. You can take it on the road. It's like a big industrial snowplow that he uses to plow out his driveway in his house. It's a very big. He showed a picture. He's like, imagine this was your driveway. And it was really it just looked like, it didn't look like there was a street there. I mean, it was just covered in snow. It was like there's foot. Anyway, he was like, imagine if this was your driveway. So he's posted a lot of stuff. He's a big enthusiast. He loves to get in that big snow plow and plow out his driveway. He's known to plow out neighbors' driveways and all this kind of stuff. He loves it. He loves his snowplow toy. He got run over by his own snowplow. And it's one of these snowplows that have tractor wheels like a tank. You know, he sits in it. It almost looks like a farming combine vehicle. That's the kind of snowplow that he's got. And somehow something happened. We don't have details on this, but the snowplow ran him over and well, I don't want to say severed because again, these are different. There are reports out there that he lost both of his legs, Jeremy Renner's legs have been chopped off by this snowplow, and he lost so much blood that necessitated the airlifting to a local hospital. All right, here's the latest. New video shows Jeremy Renner's helicopter flight to a hospital shortly after his horrific snowplowing accident. The video starts right after the 2-time Oscar nominee was loaded onto the chopper Sunday around 9:50 a.m. Eyewitnesses tell us Jeremy was plowing the road about a quarter mile from his Tahoe home so his family could get out after a massive New Year's Eve storm. According to a neighbor, the plowing machine called a snowcat accidentally ran over one of Jeremy's legs, and he was losing a lot of blood from the injury. We're told another neighbor, who's a doctor, was able to put a tourniquet on his leg until the paramedics arrived. We're told the area was treated like an active crime scene, with police arriving at 8 p.m. to impound the snowcat. Here, you know what? I'll show you these pictures. It seems like we got some good pictures of this. We're told the area is treated like an active crime scene. There we go. Sorry. With police arriving at 8 p.m. to impound the snowcat, which Jeremy had previously posted video of himself using on his property. Here, all right, so here, these are, is this TMZ? Yeah, it's TMZ. TMZ's got some good pictures. Just to give you an idea of this thing that took his legs. Ugh. All right, so here we go. Okay, we don't need the video. The video doesn't help us. Okay, so there you go. There you see, there's just an idea. You can see it's a truck. It's like a big snow plowing truck. Look at him. He's very proud of it. Look at him standing there. He's like, look what I did. I plowed out all of this stuff. He likes, look, if you had a big truck like that, I could see why snow plowing would be fun. All right, so are those all the pictures that we have? Let's see. All right, here's a video of him making a sledding hill for the kids. Look at that thing. See the tracks on that thing? That thing ran over his legs. Godspeed to Jeremy Renner. Jeremy Renner. I mean, have we ever had a legless actor? I mean, I'm trying to think. Christopher Reeve, his career, when he was paralyzed, it's not like, man. All right, just keep a good thought for Jeremy Renner, because that is, if you're not going to die, it's almost like, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. But anyway, Jeremy Renner, Godspeed to you. I like you. You're like one of my favorite actors. Martina Navratilova. Martina, second greatest female tennis player of all time? Oh, wait a second. Don't we have to start talking about who's the other one? Who's the one that got stabbed? It's not Monica Hingis. It's not Steffi Graf. It's Monica Seles. Monica Seles. All right. So we got Serena. Serena's number one, right? Serena's number one. Let's go Serena number one, Martina number two, and then Seles number three. Greatest female tennis players of all time. Maybe make a case for Billie Jean King in there. I'm not sure. Tennis great Martina Navratilova has been diagnosed with throat and breast cancer. Oh, that's terrible. Tennis great Martina Navratilova has been diagnosed with both stage 1 throat and breast cancer, her agent told CNN in an email Monday. This double whammy is serious, but still fixable, the 66-year-old said in a statement on the Women's Tennis Association website. I'm hoping for a favorable outcome. It's going to stink for a while, but I'll fight with all that I've got. Navratilova, who won 59 Grand Slam titles in her career, has already battled breast cancer in 2010. The latest diagnosis is said to be good, according to the statement, and she will begin treatment for this in mere months. So there you go, Martina. Avatar is trending. Avatar is trending because apparently the new Avatar, which my son saw, and my son gives a very high... My kid doesn't like stupid stuff, so, I mean, he's still a kid, so the stuff that he likes is, not necessarily stuff that a grown-up would like, but he recognizes when something is good. Big thumbs up for Avatar 2. He loved it. He thought it was so good. He thought it was awesome. Box office, Avatar, The Way of Water, rules over New Year's global gross, hits $1.38 billion. I believe it's become the most successful... Hold on, we'll read this, see if we get this here. Audiences rang in 2023 with a trip to Pandora, as James Cameron's Avatar, The Way of Water, continued to dominate the holiday box office. The ambitious and staggeringly expensive science fiction epic has been in the works for years, blowing past several release dates as Cameron figured out a way to expand his story, blah, blah, blah. Avatar, The Way of Water brought in a projected $63.4 million domestically over New Year's weekend and is expected to generate $82.4 million over the 4-day holiday. Most people have Monday off, as we're learning now, and many of them will apparently be spending the day with Na'vi. So they're expecting a very big box office for today. So there you go. Avatar, Way of Water, Seems to be kicking ass. That's good because it needed to kick ass. Okay, so Maya Pinsetto. Does the name Maya Pinsetto mean anything to you? Here, I'll show her to you because she's so hysterical. Maya Pinsetto was a woman who went viral. And I like to bring back these stories when people go viral because we forgot about them. Maya, or is it Mia? I don't even know what it is. Hold on. There she is. She went viral about maybe 2 years ago. Maybe it was last year. I don't know. Remember, she was in a hotel in New York and she couldn't find her phone. And there was a black kid in the lobby who was also staying at the hotel. Black kid turns out to be the son of a famous jazz musician who was waiting for his dad to come down. She couldn't find her phone. The black kid got up and decided to go stand outside. She stopped the black kid, 14 years old, from going outside because she demanded her phone back because she assumed that he had stolen her phone. He's like, I didn't steal your phone. And she's like, yeah, you took my phone. And then people started filming with their own phones. And so the video went viral of her, this chick, this girl, this idiot young girl in this boutique fancy Soho hotel in New York, accusing just the lone black kid sitting there. And it turned into a whole thing. She had her phone. She just couldn't find it, is how it turned out. But she tackled the kid to the ground, and it turned into a whole thing. Anyway, woman who attacked a black teenager while falsely accusing him of stealing her phone pleads guilty to the hate crime charge. She's being charged with a hate crime. But here's why she was interesting. Don't you remember, like a week after that, she did an interview. I want to say it was with Robin Roberts. She went on TV to explain her side of things. And she was the worst. She was like the worst human being ever. First of all, she was wearing here, I'll show it to you. You remember she showed up on TV wearing a daddy hat? She was wearing a hat that said daddy. Like she's just this awful. Here, you can see her right here. Look at her. There she is. There she is in her daddy hat. It's like, I didn't do anything. Anyway, she was awful. She was really bad. And then here, what she's doing here, she told Robin Roberts to shh. Here. I know you're not going to be able to hear this properly because the sound is not working, but maybe.
Welcome to Who's Talking.
All right, forget about it. Never mind, forget it. Anyway, she's pled guilty to a hate crime. She's finally realizing that there's nothing she could do about it. She basically held someone down and didn't allow them to go about their merry way for no reason. And in December of 2020, Maya Pinsetto was seen on video attacking 14-year-old Kayon Harold Jr., who was with his father, a well-known jazz musician in the Arlo Hotel. I like how they have to point out that he's a well-known jazz musician because jazz musicians aren't generally well-known, right? He's famous in jazz circles. In jazz circles, they know him. All right, very good. Video of the incident quickly went viral, with many accusing Pinsetto of racially profiling the teen, an accusation that she has denied. The incident also occurred as conditional calls for racial justice and police reform were the highest they've been in years due to the deaths of black people like George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. The plea deal requires Pinsetto, 23, she pled guilty to hate crimes. That's the plea deal. The plea deal requires Pinsetto, 23, to follow the probation terms for a separate case in California. A separate case? What'd she do? Attend counseling and avoid further criminal incidents. If she doesn't comply, Pinsetto could go to prison for up to 4 years. She ain't going to prison for 4 years for that. All right, so whatever. Anyway, Daddy, she had her little hat. I'm going on TV to try and show that I'm not a bad person, and I'm going to wear a hat that says Daddy on it because I like my daddy to pay for everything because I'm a totally normal person. She's a fucking weirdo. Anyway, Daddy, seriously. She was sitting there with her attorney. Her attorney didn't go, lose the hat. The hat is really going to make you look like a piece of work. Lose the hat. There's a new bond. There's a new bond rumored to be in the chamber. Who is it? Craig? Daniel Craig. He's no longer going to be Bond. So apparently there is this guy. Who's this guy? I don't know who this guy is. You guys watch that show, Emily in Paris? I don't know watch that show. That's just. Can I just tell you, if you're going to title a show Emily in Paris, you are basically ensuring that I'm not going to watch it. I don't care about Paris, and I sure as shit don't care about Emily. Emily in Paris star Lucien Laviscount in play as the next Bond. So says a new report. The woman, Barbara Broccoli, who owns the rights and has final approval on all Bond stuff, because her husband or her dad was Albert Broccoli, the guy who basically made all the Bond movies. She's the one who has the final say on all of this, and she's apparently the one that is pushing for him. From Mr. Paris to Mr. Bond, that seems to be the trajectory that Lucien Laviscount might be on, if you believe the reports that he's in the running as the next 007. The British actor, famous for his recurring role on Netflix's Emily in Paris, is said to have captured the attention of producer Barbara Broccoli, who also holds the rights to all James Bond merchandise and franchises, and who's in search of a new agent to replace Daniel Craig. According to the London Press, his work in Emily in Paris, where he plays the main character's love interest, Alfie, is what landed him as a frontrunner for the job. All right, do you guys even know who this guy is? I've never heard of this guy. All right, where is he? New Bond. Let's get a look at what the new Bond is going to look like. All right. I don't watch Emily in Paris. It might be a fine show. Maybe if I was in a relationship with a woman, it would be one of those compromise shows where I watch and then there he is, the new 007. Look at him. There he is. He's got a British accent. I think that's the only thing that that they really require now with Bond is you got to be able to pull off a British accent. So there you have him. Good for him. I hope. Not official. It is not official. It is just said that they're looking for a new James Bond, and he is Barbara Broccoli's handpicked choice to be the new Bond. So we will see. Bonds have Bond because he's a relatively under the radar celebrity. Emily in Paris is a Netflix show. Yes, people watch it, but he's not a movie star. This isn't like they're making Kevin Hart the new James, the new James Bond. So I'm trying to think, have the other James Bonds, were they big stars? Daniel Craig was a star. We knew who Daniel Craig was. Daniel Craig was an actor, but was he a big star? He's a bigger star now since being Bond. Who was the Bond before him? Pierce Brosnan. Timothy Dalton wasn't a star. When they made Timothy Dalton Bond, he was not a star. Sean Connery. I don't know. Was Roger Moore a big star when they made him Bond, or I don't know. Anyway, so what else do we have here? Okay, so this started trending yesterday, and here we'll pull it up. Let's see if I can get it. I hope I can get it here. This started trending yesterday, and a lot of people were debates over this whole thing. Rolling Stone has put out their list of the greatest singers of all time, the 200 greatest singers of all time, as judged by Rolling Stone. Go to 200? Who did they say was 200? We'll go to the 200 and I'll give you the top 10. Actually, no. What I'll do is I'll just randomly go through some of these. So 200 is someone named Rosalia. I have no idea who Rosalia is. The 200 best singer of all time, according to Rolling Stone, Rosalia. I don't know who that is. 199 is Glenn Danzig. Yeah! Glenn Danzig comes in at 199 on Rolling Stone's list of the greatest singers. Billie Eilish gets 198. Burna Boy. I don't know who Burna Boy is. Burna Boy is a Nigerian cultural giant. Oh, Rolling Stone must include a number of people who are popular in other places that we don't know. Why? To show that they are more in touch with who can truly sing than we are. So Burna Boy, a Nigerian cultural icon, makes their list. Meanwhile, who didn't make the list? Burna Boy made the list. Who didn't make the list? Celine Dion. people are losing their shit that Celine Dion didn't make Rolling Stone's list of the 200 greatest singers of all time. But Glenn Danzig did. Glenn Danzig. Imagine Celine Dion and Glenn Danzig. They're both sitting there, and the world depends on someone being able to sing something beautifully. And Glenn Danzig's like, well, Rolling Stone says I'm the better singer. What? What? There is no timeline in any. There's no place that Celine Dion is a better singer or isn't a better singer than Glenn Danzig. All right, 97 is Burna Boy. 96 or 196 is Paul Westerberg. I love the Replacements, and I love Paul Westerberg, but he doesn't deserve to be on this list if Celine Dion isn't. 195, someone named Polly Styrene, because she was big in New York's underground scene back in the 1970s. And Rolling Stone knows who they are, who knows who she is. But you don't. You don't. So we're going to put her on the list. What about Celine Dion? Oh, Burna Boy and Polly Styrene must make the list. And they must make the list so that we seem like we know something that you don't. 194 is Kelly Clarkson. 194. She's got one of the biggest voices. We held a whole national contest to see who had the best voice, and she won. Brandy comes in at 193. Someone named Anohi comes in at 192. I don't know where she is. Oh my God, she's like in Yoko Ono's band. Oh, get out of here! Get out of here! 191. Jungkook of BTS, the South Korean. 191. According to Rolling Stone, Jungkook is the 191st best singer in the history of singing. Celine Dion didn't make the list. And I'm not even a Celine Dion fan. I think that stuff is lame. But Celine Dion can sing, man. Celine Dion for years is like, who's the greatest singer of all time? Is it Aretha Franklin, Whitney Houston, or Celine Dion? I mean, and she doesn't even make the list. All right, in 190, the back 10. We're going to do the back 10 and the top 10. Frank Ocean comes in at 190 on the list. All right, so now let's see who the top 10 are according to Rolling Stone. Those are not the bottom 10, because this is the 200 greatest singers. So even the bottom 10 are great singers. So when I say bottom 10, I'm not being, negative towards them. I'm just saying 200 to 190 we've just done. Now let's do the top 10. Seriously, give me the top 10. Oh, you're only going to give me the top 20? Fine, we'll do the top 20. Marvin Gaye comes in at number 20. Marvin Gaye, number 20 greatest singer of all time. Frank Sinatra, the number 19 greatest singer of all time. Number 18, Celia Cruz, Afro-Cuban songstress. Don't know who she is. She comes in at number 18. She's apparently better than Sinatra. Elvis Presley comes in at number 17. Don't know about that, but okay. Prince comes in at number 16. Singers. We're talking about singers. Okay, I think that's fair. Singers. So according to Rolling Stone, list of the best singers of all time, this person comes in at number 15. Celine Dion didn't make the list. Ladies and gentlemen, according to Rolling Stone and their expertise, Bob Dylan is the 15th greatest singer of all time. Bob Dylan, according to Rolling Stone, is 5 places better than Marvin Gaye. Bob Dylan is 5 people better at singing than Marvin Gaye. Oh, Jesus, this list sucks. Freddie Mercury comes in at number 14. Number 13 is going to be Patsy Cline. Let's see here. Number 12 is John Lennon. Again, I love John Lennon, but he's not a great singer. John Lennon is not a great singer. He's a great songwriter. He's a good singer. He's a great songwriter. Stop it. Number 11 is Little Richard. Little Richard comes in at number 11. Woo! All right, let's get into the top 10. Here we go. Top 10. Al Green. Can't really argue with that. Al Green, tremendous voice. Tremendous sound coming out of Al Green. Number 9 is Otis Redding. Can't argue with that. Otis Redding is number 9. Number 8 is Beyonce. All right. Number 7 is Stevie Wonder. Number 6 is Ray Charles. Number 5 is Mariah Carey. Number 4 is Billie Holiday. Number 3 is Sam Cooke. Number 2, Whitney Houston. And according to Rolling Stone, the number 1 greatest singer of all time, really can't argue with it, Aretha Franklin, ladies and gentlemen. Aretha Franklin. Look at that. Why is their top 10 so racist? Shouldn't we force them to stick a white singer in there? All 10 are black. All 10 black. So what is Rolling Stone saying? Why is Rolling Stone being racist, saying that black people are better singers? Really? Seriously? If you had a top 10 that was all, white people, you'd be like, hey, that would be wrong, though. I mean, let's exist in the real world. If you had a top 10 and it was all white people, you'd go, no, Aretha Franklin, Whitney Houston. Honestly, I have no issue at all with the top 3. Aretha Franklin, absolutely. You can make that case. Whitney Houston, tremendous voice. Number 3, Sam Cooke. You can't argue with that. Number 4, Billie Holiday. You can't argue with that. She's amazing voice. Mariah Carey. What is Mariah Carey? Mariah Carey white? It's an Irish last name. She doesn't look Irish, though. She looks whatever. Mariah Carey. So there you have it. This is the Rolling Stone list of the 200 best singers. It's out there now. If you want to explore it, you can see, we gave you 200 to 190, and then we gave you 20 to 1. So there's a whole bunch in there. 70, 80. There's 70 more names that you can go through. All right, guys, that's it. That's all we got. That's all we have prepared for today. Let me jump into Twitter right now. Let's see what we have. Let's see what is going on here. Anything trending on Twitter that we need to be aware about? No, Jeremy Renner is trending. Okay, why is he trending now? Is there an update? They're releasing video of Jeremy Renner. No. Jeremy Renner is in critical but stable condition with injuries suffered to his legs after experiencing a weather-related accident while plowing snow at his home in Reno. Who's spreading misinformation? There's people. Jeremy Renner is in critical but stable condition. Okay. Godspeed to Jeremy Renner, man. I'll tell you. All right. I know we just talked about Jeremy Renner, but I was trying to see if there's anything new. Tanya Tucker is trending. Why is Tanya Tucker trending? She die? She die or she already dead? I don't know if she's dead or not. Oh, no, she's not dead. She's performing at the Rose Parade, which is happening right now, or it happened recently within the last hour or so. I'm sorry. It seems like a Monday. It does not seem like we're extending the holidays. LSU football, Tulane is trending. Yeah, you know what, guys? That's it. We just got nothing. The only garbage that's trending right now is all football related and stuff like that. So we're gonna call it. We're gonna put a fork in it, and we're gonna be done with today's show. Hope you enjoy. Hope you're all up to speed on everything that's happened and everything that is happening in today's world. We'll be back tonight at 9:00 for myself and James Parker. We'll be doing a pillow talk at 9:00. Pillow talk is just me and James Parker. Typically, it's a couple of subjects. He brings something up, we talk about it a little bit. I bring something up, we talk about it a little bit. It's more conversational maybe than this is. This is more informative. We try to give you a little bit of everything that's happening in the world. The one at 9:00 is more conversational. All right, guys, we'll see you tonight at 9:00 for Pillow Talk. Appreciate you being here. Leslie wants to know, where is Adele on the list of singers? I don't know. There's 70 slots that I didn't mention, so she's on there somewhere. Where is Barbra Streisand? I don't know. Where is Chris Cornell? I don't know. I didn't see Chris Cornell's name either. At least not in the top 20. or the back 10. Chris Cornell's the best rock vocalist. Dude, Freddie Mercury. No, Chris Cornell was actually better than Freddie Mercury, but that's fine. Freddie Mercury's great. Doesn't mean that Freddie Mercury sucks for me to say that Chris Cornell's voice is better. It's just, it's better. We're not having this conversation. Freddie Mercury's great. Why do you hate Freddie Mercury? I don't hate Freddie Mercury. I actually like Queen. In fact, I like Queen more than I like Soundgarden. But Chris Cornell, to my ears, has a better voice than Freddie Mercury. That's just all I'm saying. All right. I don't know what else. I don't know what else to say. Other than, I love you all. See you tonight at 9 o'clock. Bye-bye. That is all I need. I don't need no 401.